Admissions in higher ed is stuck. Outdated tools and rigid processes slow institutions down, making it harder to truly connect with today's students. But Brittany at the College of Albemarle shows that there's a better way.
At College of the Albemarle, we're always looking for new ways to better serve our students. Let's face it, though, life doesn't always fit into a 9-to-5 schedule. That's why we've been so excited about the AI tools we get to use through our CRM, Element 451. This makes connecting to COA easier than ever. We're working on Bolt AI Assistance, Bolt Discovery, and these are tools designed to give students access to COA resources and information anytime, day or night. Got a question about admissions? Need help exploring programs? Looking for resources? These tools are like having COA staff at your fingertips, ready to help whenever it's convenient for you.
Your prospective students get the information they need when they need it, and your team saves time. Visit element451.com to see how AI can help you simplify your admissions process to stay focused on what really matters, your students. Welcome to AI for You. Today's use case is about using AI to build apps for you to accomplish specific tasks. I've done this several times using Claude.ai and have had pretty incredible results. It doesn't always work. It isn't always 100% when it comes to accomplishing exactly what you want, but it's worked well enough for me so far. The credit to this goes to Austin Boyer from Boston University, who showed a use case during a presentation where he asked Claude to create an app to help him crop and scale hundreds of user-submitted headshots, which saved him hours of time. I've created an app that crawled websites to compare pricing data for various items on a spreadsheet, and also another app to validate the data on a spreadsheet with more than 1,000 rows of information, which required it to visit hundreds of websites and track down specific data. Now, there's no specific prompt for this use case because each instance is so unique, but you basically just tell the tool what kind of app you want it to create, and it writes the Python code to allow you to push a button to make it start, and then push another button to export the results as a CSV or Excel file. Today, we're talking with Devin Purgason, Associate Vice President for Student Experience, Marketing, and Outreach at Forsyth Technical Community College. Devin is also the winner of numerous marketing awards, including being named AMA's Emerging Higher Ed Marketer of 2024. Devin shares how they have integrated AI into their student services, leading to significant enrollment growth while maintaining personal connections with their students. Learn about their strategic approach to AI implementation, how they balance automation with human interaction, and their practical solutions for common AI challenges. Let's jump right in. Welcome to AI for You, the go-to podcast for higher ed professionals looking to integrate AI into their daily work. I'm your host, Brian Piper, the Director of Content Strategy and Assessment at the University of Rochester. Join me every other Thursday for practical uses of AI within higher education communications, marketing, and student engagement. We'll focus on ways to quickly integrate AI into your teams to increase your efficiency and effectiveness and help you optimize your workflows and processes. I'll interview experts and feature relevant use cases with the goal that every episode gives you at least one thing you can take away and start leveraging in your job today. AI for You is a part of the Enrollify Network, a robust collection of podcasts designed to help higher education professionals like you grow. Explore our other shows at enrollify.org. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform helping institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com. Well, Devin, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you, Brian. I'm so excited to be here.
So start off by telling me a little bit about how you're integrating AI into your processes at Forsyth Tech. really interested in what you were talking about at AMA.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we as a community college are trying to integrate AI into as many places as we can. Our president immediately upon I would say the outburst of generative AI on the scene with OpenAI back in 2023, she immediately started with, we need an AI task force, which was groundbreaking, quote unquote, for community colleges specifically, but for a lot of higher ed institutions. So we have been working really hard for almost coming up on 2 years trying to integrate AI and be ethical with AI use and using it to help us in various ways, whether that's through increasing efficiency and productivity or meeting our students' needs in ways that we were not previously able to do. But one of the big ways, practical ways that we're doing that is really through our AI chatbot, which I know that now that seems like, oh my gosh, that's commonplace now. But our chatbot, it's generative AI. It runs off of LLMs, very similar to OpenAI's. It uses a lot of those LLMs. We're able to create our own specific knowledge base and sort of curate that knowledge base. And it has been a fantastic help with our students. One other piece of that I think really flows into it is our automated workflows that we're working through with our CRM. So one way that we have integrated AI, but then added to it human experience is with our student care team. And so, like most colleges that have a CRM or that are looking for lead generation tactics or things like that, we have our ads, we have on our website lead forms, people submit those leads, and it starts an automated workflow. So they get a automatic text message and email, and it starts to take them through this journey. And it's based on behavior, it's based on how they respond to the various pieces. But something that we've layered on top of that is outreach from our student care team. While that is happening at a mass level with students in an automated function, something that we really don't have to have our finger on the pulse as much, our CRM automatically creates a task for our student care team to then reach out to those students and ask them questions personally. And so what we've seen before we had that human element, we had the common numbers of, engagement and things like that. When we added and we coupled on that human element is when we really started to see our enrollment start to skyrocket. I know that community colleges are having like a time in the spotlight right now. We're seeing increases in enrollment all over, which is amazing. I'm so excited and so happy for that. But we've seen it just really drastically increase because we've been able to layer on that human element with the AI. Brian, I know that was a long, drawn out fire hydrant answer to your one simple question, but hopefully that gives you something to go off of.
Yeah, absolutely. And, one of the things that constantly comes up on this show is how AI is actually leading to more human interactions.
Yeah.
So you're automating as much of the process as you can to answer all of those like common questions, all of those like things that are already in all your documentation. But then when you hit a certain point, or once you get a certain amount of information, then you can connect those students with a human being who really kind of has started to understand their questions, their problems, their need. They've already gone through some of the process. So how did you, and obviously I had Dr. Spriggs on the show, episode
Yeah.
4, I think, and she is fantastic. And having that sort of leadership support is critical for any
Yes.
sort of AI adoption. But how did you come to the point where you said, here's a point where we should integrate AI into this process, or here's where we should figure out how to balance AI and human engagement, because that's something that's so critical especially for first time students.
100%. I think really we saw that from, and one of the inception points for integrating the AI into those workflows was our students. We understood that adult learners, we did several focus groups with our adult learners. We did several focus groups with our first generation college students, just trying to understand how can we better serve these students. And what we found from those focus groups and from all of the data and the research that we collected with our own students was that a personal touch, someone that they can reach out to and say, hey, I don't quite understand this. It's been 15 years since I've been to college, or I don't know what the add drop deadline means. What does that mean? I have no idea. We found that whenever students have that personal connection, they are more likely to persist and retain. And then ultimately complete, and that's our goal. Our goal is not to simply fill up a funnel of prospective students and get them in the door for them not to go across that stage. It's antithetical to the work that we are doing as a community college, as Forsyth Tech. We're a catalyst for equitable economic mobility, empowering lives and transforming communities. And for us to actually do that work, we have to make sure that students are not just getting into debt, that they're not just spinning their wheels coming to classes, but they are actually completing, getting a credential, and then having a family sustaining wage. And so that was really one of the inception points of that. And we understood that the volume of students that we have at Forsyth Tech, with the amount of staff that we have, it would be impossible for us to do that without some sort of technological apparatus to help us take care of that volume. And so that was something that was super helpful for us. As a side point to that, we were able to look at spring data to spring data. So we had, this would have been, I'm getting my numbers confused. This would have been spring 23. So yeah, January 23, there was no AI chatbot. We got the AI chatbot June of 2023. And then spring of 2024, so January 2024, we were able to actually see, okay, apples to apples, what are some differences that we have? We've been running this chatbot for about 6 months. That gives us a great cycle. What has happened? And what we saw was that we had an increase of more than 10% in enrollment, a call volume decrease of 30%, and we saw our call length increase substantially by like a minute. We saw that we had more students, less call volume, longer calls. Students that actually need the help were getting the help they needed. It helped us as a college be more equitable with students. So a student who is calling and asking the question of, is the bookstore open today? They can find that out without having to call. Whereas someone who is struggling filling out FAFSA or which we know that was crazy last January, they have that issue, then they're able to actually dive in a little deeper and get the help that they need. So it's been a fantastic addition to helping us serve our students better. But then I also think that it's been really cool to see that data show that as a true point. And I'm excited now to see January 2025 data and be able to look at that, because we want to keep looking at what we're doing and keep tweaking and optimizing, because it's just, as you know, Brian, you can't be stagnant very long in higher ed or in ed tech or serving students. You have to constantly be looking at what you're doing and measuring that, being in a continual feedback loop and stuff like that. So
yeah, especially with all the challenges that higher ed is facing, and looming on the horizon. I think it's so critical for us to find ways to reduce those barriers for students and to take, to increase the response time and to answer their questions right away, so they're not waiting or trying to get through to someone to answer their questions because everyone's busy, because everyone's answering all of these like low impact, easy questions that can be automated. So now what you're doing is you're letting AI handle that. And then you're creating more time for humans to actually deal with those more difficult, more human problems. And now you're creating relationships. You're forming trust with your audience because
Hmm.
now they know someone there who's actually helping them solve their problem and create a solution. It's fantastic.
Absolutely. And that's been huge for us because we know that if students have a great experience at our college, that's going to stick with them. They are going to tell their friends and family about it. To be able to give students a great experience is a marketing strategy in and of itself.
Absolutely. I mean, that's who prospective students want to hear from, our
Yeah,
current students or recent students who can say, yes, this was a great experience. I'm so glad I did this.
100%.
Yeah. When I talk to people at other institutions, I hear a lot of concern over, oh, well, we don't want to turn this over to chatbots because they hallucinate and they'll make up things. And, you see some stories in the news of chatbots that give like wrong answers and it causes problems. How did you deal with that when you were first starting this process?
It's still an issue. It's something that I don't think there has been a 100% solution for. I think one thing that we have had to really understand is we can't let perfect be the enemy of great. And so that has really sort of helped us frame it. We understand that we're going to have to keep our hand on the wheel of these tools. We don't have the ability to just let it self-regulate. So, we have someone on our staff whose job is to make sure that the knowledge base is constantly being updated. Or, sometimes Chat GPT or OpenAI will have an outage, and then all of a sudden our chatbot is acting crazy. So it's not something that you can 100% protect yourself against. But I think one thing that we had to understand was, yes, there are going to be mistakes, but that happens with humans
That's
as
right.
well, right? Like, tell me that you've not had a staff member tell a student the wrong date or tell a student conflicting information that someone across the hall just told them. It happens all the time. That's one of the reasons that we created our student care model, was because we were tired of students being passed around from department to department. We wanted to create a team where they could help answer the lion's share of questions, and they were getting it from one sole source. So it's not something that we've been able to completely ward off, but we definitely have our finger on the pulse of what's happening. So what that looks like practically is, if a student asks a question to our chatbot or to our AI search on our website, and it's saying something that's crazy or wrong, first off, we're monitoring those that come in, so we can see what students are saying in real time, as they're typing.
Think you know ChatGPT? Think again. Unlock advanced features like projects and Canvas at the AI Engage Summit's ChatGPT Secrets session on February 26th. You'll be able to implement what you learn immediately. This free virtual event is a must attend. Register now at enrollify.org/engage.
So we have that. Another thing is, we do have the option with our chatbot between the hours of 8 and 6 p.m., 8 a.m. and 6 p.m., for them to be have a handoff for a human interaction. So think of the press 0, speak to a representative, like that. So we have that ability. And anytime that happens, anytime there is a handoff, that automatically triggers a notification to go to the person that is managing our knowledge base to go and look at that chat to say, oh, well, that's outdated. Or, oh, I need to create a custom instruction. This is a question we haven't had before, and we need to make sure if this question is ever asked again, this is where the knowledge base should point them to. So we have those gates, I guess you will, in place to help protect against some of the hallucinations or the inaccuracies that AI can do. But I think ultimately what we've seen is it's been a much higher payoff to have the tool that can slightly be defective at times than to not have a tool because it can't be perfect 100% of the time.
Absolutely. And when you have all, 100% humans doing it, you don't track all of their responses. So you don't usually know when they're
Yeah,
giving inaccurate information. So, yeah, at least you
exactly.
have the data now to back that up.
Right.
So you've been integrating AI into the workflows and processes at Forsyth Tech for several years now. What are some of the biggest challenges you've faced, or what are some of the challenges you hear a lot about from other institutions that maybe aren't as far along as you are?
I feel like what I hear from more of a faculty side is more of the ethical concerns, the academic integrity concerns that AI may have in the classroom. I think from a more staff side of the higher ed, I see more infrastructure, technical expertise, budget, human resources as some of the biggest challenges for higher ed when integrating AI. So, I mentioned the human resources part because we would not be successful with our AI chatbot if we did not have a staff position that was working in our CRM and helping maintain the knowledge base. If
Yeah.
we did not have that human resource, all of the stories that I just told about the data and everything like that probably would look very different. So there is that human resource. There are budget limitations and financial restraint. There is infrastructure, technology, knowledge kind of need whenever it comes to some of these things. So that is definitely a challenge for higher ed and for various colleges out there. We all don't have unlimited budgets, and so it's something that does take investment.
Yeah, and I hear so many people talk about, not having the time to learn the tools or not having
Yes.
the resources to allocate towards figuring out how to integrate them. And I'm always telling them, well, once you learn how to use the tools, you're going to save that time. You're going to get
Right.
that time back that you can use for more important things. So, yeah, it's definitely
100%.
a process. What is your advice for institutions who haven't started integrating AI yet?
Start with a clear strategy and create clear objectives for AI. So what does that look like for your institution? Is it how can AI provide the most value for you and your institution? Is it things like enhancing the learning experience? Is it for sort of what we've mentioned where we have AI integrated within various enrollment workflows and helping students from prospect to alumni kind of things, or is it even something that's not even student facing? Is it more like administrative, where you're helping people on the administrative side be more efficient and things like that? One thing that we have integrated through our AI task force is Microsoft Copilot. And so we're a Microsoft school, we have a Microsoft environment. And so having Copilot be able to summarize your email inbox or help you catch up on Teams messages or stuff like that is one of those administrative efficiency pieces that I think have helped us. So, start with a clear strategy. What objective are you looking for whenever it comes to AI? And then I think after you have that plan, that objective, it's really just investing in the training for your staff so they can understand how to use the tools, how to implement the tools. And then I think another thing that is really important is not feeling like you have to launch any AI initiative on large scale. This is something that you can pilot, if you will. You can have a small scale AI project to just measure the impact before you start to scale up. That was something that we did with our chatbot. We did not have our chatbot running 24/7 when we first started it. It was definitely something where we only had it for the hours throughout the day that we were able to sit there and watch it and make sure that it wasn't doing anything wild. And so it was a bit of a testing ramping up kind of thing that we did with that. So that's my advice for any institution who hasn't really started or doesn't really know where to start exploring AI is do that. do those things.
Yeah, I think having that strategy and that focus is so important because
Mhm.
I mean, there's so many things you can do with these tools, and there's so many like cool things that the tools can do. But
Right.
if you don't really know what you're trying to accomplish, you're just going to waste a lot of time like doing fun things without really knowing why you're doing them or what you're trying to accomplish with them. So, yeah,
Absolutely.
excellent advice.
Mhm.
What are some of the more interesting use cases you've seen or heard from of AI in higher ed?
Okay, so Brian, if you were not hosting this podcast, I would still say this answer. Okay. So I just want you to know that. I feel like what you have done and what you have shown me and through a couple of your speaking engagements and your talks, what you have done with content creation and tracking and analytics through AI has been one of the most impressive uses that I've ever seen. I remember being at the Engage Summit, the Element 451's Engage Summit last summer, and you doing a session on all of that. And you had the slide up there with all of the various AI tools that you were using. I just remember snapping that like that night, going home and getting HeyGen and translating my first video into Arabic. So I think a lot of the things that you were doing with the University of Rochester has been one of the most interesting AI use cases that I've seen. Yeah. So there you go.
Well, thank you very much, Devin. I appreciate that. And I'm glad that it was helpful because,
Yes.
I think that sharing like use cases and opportunities like this is the only way that we're all going to learn because this is all moving so quickly and the
Absolutely.
technology is changing so fast. And every time you turn around, there's 100 new AI tools that are out there. And it's just difficult to kind of figure out what you really should be using and what you shouldn't. So,
Absolutely.
with this landscape changing so quickly, where do you think AI is going to go in the next year or two?
Yeah, I was talking to Kevin Tyler about this the other day, and I think that AI is going to continue to be integrated within lots of tools that we use. It's already integrated within iPhone, Siri. I think it's going to continue to ramp up within all of our educational tools, all of our LMSs, all of our CRMs, website type things. And I think that integration, the reason for it is it's going to offer much more personalization. Personalized, when I think about it from an educational standpoint, like an LMS, being able to offer personalized content or real time feedback or really, really tailored, specific, personalized tutoring, things like that I think will be huge. I think whenever I look into more of the higher ed marketing, it's going to help us be able to personalize marketing, calls, text, emails to students, with their preferences, with their programs, with a lot less human creation time. I think for me, one of the first things that was really amazing was being able to write one version of the email and then say, hey, help me create a second version that I can A B test. Not having
Right.
to write not having to write the B was amazing to me. And so I think, it's going to be doing a lot of that without us having to create that. So process automation, personalized content, personalized, workflows and things like that. I think that's going to be the crux of what we see with all of the AI that's going to be integrated within the technology over the next couple of years.
Absolutely. And I think that's going to be such a huge benefit to all of our audiences. We're going to be able to deliver higher quality, more relevant content, more relevant solutions to them.
Yes.
Um, so,
That's
so I
awesome.
always finish my interviews by asking what specific tools or use cases are helping you the most in doing your job?
So I use a variety of tools. I would say though, the one that I use the absolute most, and this might make me sound old now. I use ChatGPT a lot. I use ChatGPT a ton because I have the team version. So I'm able to, have a couple of members of my staff on that team. We've created our custom GPTs to help us with various things. We've been able to upload all of our data and documents and voice and brand and things of that nature into the ChatGPT. So I use that quite often. I think for another piece of my job is creating presentations sometimes. And so I really, really love Gamma to help create presentations. It's been really, really fun. I've used Beautiful AI as well. They're fantastic. I think it just depends on, the type of workflow that you're used to using. Beautiful AI is a little bit more, you give it an idea and it goes off.
Right.
Whereas Gamma, you can be a little bit more like, hey, I need this slide to say this. I need this slide to say this. And you're able to break it apart a little more. So depending on your use case, I mentioned Hey Gen already. We use Hey Gen to help, translate video into other languages, but it doesn't just translate. It literally changes your voice and it changes your mouth, which is amazing. So I would say those are and also Copilot. So, we're a Microsoft school. I mentioned Copilot earlier. I still prefer ChatGPT over Copilot's generation whenever it comes to content. I think that because of what we've been able to do and create that custom environment, it's really hard to beat. So yeah, those are a couple of the tools that I use.
Fantastic answer. Well, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show and sharing your time and insights with our audience. I know this is going to be very valuable, and I can't wait to see what you do next over at Forsyth Tech.
Thank you so much, Brian. Take care.
It's always so much fun talking with Devin. His energy, enthusiasm, and innovative spirit are inspiring. And I love how everything they do at Forsyth is focused on creating a better experience for their students and creating more time for human engagement by automating the routine work that's happening. The impact that AI has had on their enrollment process is obvious in the data that he provided, and just the opportunity to take the time they previously spent answering all of those common questions and to reallocate that to provide more personal connections and interactions with their students is amazing. As we face concerns about AI's potential to provide inaccurate information, it's important to remember that humans can also provide inaccurate information and make mistakes. We have to balance the nature of the questions we're answering and the impact of a chatbot getting that answer wrong against the amount of time we could save if we can automate a high percentage of those common questions. We also have to understand that these tools require monitoring, ongoing training, and contingencies for when there are outages or issues. Thanks again for listening. Remember to subscribe, follow, or leave a review on your favorite platform. Please reach out to me with unique ways that you're integrating AI into your professional and personal lives. And as always, blue skies and keep creating. Thank you for listening to another episode of AI for You. I hope you found at least one useful thing you can take away and start adding to your workflows and processes today. Remember, the key to making the most of AI is to keep experimenting, keep learning, and of course, keep creating. AI for You is a part of the Enrollify podcast network. If you like this podcast, chances are you'll like other Enrollify shows too. Our podcast network is growing by the month, and we've got a plethora of marketing, enrollment, and higher ed technology shows that are jam-packed with stories, ideas, and frameworks, all designed to empower you to become a better higher ed professional. Our shows help higher ed professionals find their next big idea and feature a selection of the industry's best as your hosts. Learn from Artis Kadu, Day Kibbles, Shane Baglini, and so many other of your favorite leaders in higher ed. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com.